whole lot of yeehaw. Alright guys, hope everybody's doing well. Of course I wish everybody well. I don't have anybody that I wish ill will, and including the people who have done me wrong. I don't wish ill will on anybody. Just don't want to poison my own being in the name of having some kind of anger or frustration with somebody else. It seems to be that way. I can tell you for sure, when estimating, you never really understand how people can change. And I have tons of examples. I've got one that I'm dealing with right now. I've been dealing with her for years. 4 years, evidently. So I get hand signals. And we've not had a problem, ever. No misunderstandings, no problems getting paid, no nothing, no problem. I always communicate. There's nothing changed. She had me do just a shoot from the hip estimate on.
Don't do that.
Her project, and I gave it to her. And then when I got started on the project, she just blew it up while saying, I want to do all this. Of course, the budget's going to go gone. And I don't know that registered. But we were working hard. I honestly, guys, there's a lot of times that I don't bill, and I probably should. Not probably, I should. And I didn't in this case either. I allowed an hour here, an hour there, 2 hours, per day. And same with receipts. It's a lot of it is because it allows me, so that when somebody accuses me of, being dishonest or anything like that, they go back and look at the situation, they're going to find out that they were wrong. And there's a reason why the company is called Straight Arrow Construction, because I am a very straight, to the point, and straight arrow when it comes to being honest. And somehow, after 2 months of work and constant definition changes, this is what I want for a staircase, send me a picture, I build it, or get started building it, and said, that's not what I wanted. That's okay when you're working by the hour, but it's frustrating. But I did not pass that on. So I get all the way, and there was multiple misunderstandings because of lack of, communication on her part, because I communicate perhaps too much, and that kind of helps with live streaming, because I can fill in a lot of gaps. But I could tell that she was running out of money, not only because she said that she was getting tight on her budget, but you can always tell when they go to pay, and she pays by card, always by card. I said, well, this is probably going to be our last day. We'll have an early week this week, so our last day will probably be around Wednesday, and it was. We had short days, and Wednesday we ended it. So go home and turn in a bill like I have been. That bill is written out, tells what the labor and the materials are, cost plus, and she tells my wife, not me, I'm not going to pay until this Friday. Okay, so I go on, although that's not normal, I go on and work on another job, which that guy pays me every day, shakes my hand. He's a great guy too. All people are good, but they are weak at times. People can be weak. So come Friday, Well, actually, Thursday, she said, well, I've already mailed you a check, which is the first time ever. First of all, I've never had a check from this person. And first time ever to have anything mailed. And she tells me, well, I asked you for receipts. I think it was on a Monday. And I said, wow, that's going to be really hard. Oh, no, the receipts for your job, this job should be right on top. And I was like, no, it's not that way. So I will explain to you how it's not that way. This is July. Well, now it's August.
August 3rd.
So more than half of the year has been put into a container, all the receipts. That is fuel receipts and anything that is a tax deductible deduction, receipt. We'll put in there. Well, I outgrew one container, so I moved it to another. That includes the ones that were hers. She had not requested receipts until this last 5 or 6 days.
Has not requested receipts
Ever.
We have never had customers request receipts like this.
Which I don't mind providing them if they say up front.
Then.
Now, don't get me wrong, I did provide some receipts because sometimes I spent hundreds of dollars and I didn't want there to be like, hey, I'm just making these things up. So, she says, I'm not going to give you the last day's work or materials until you give me all the receipts for the whole 2 months, 8 weeks of billing. So now I gave her immediately the ones I had for this week because I had that in my wallet. Everything else was all mixed up. Might as well have been in a bingo container. So I had to go through 6 months of receipts.
But tell them why. It's not like you have 8-hour days. You continue after you leave her job and
Right.
go to the next job.
I do a lot of air conditioning, electrical problems, things that are, quick, so that it doesn't interfere with a major job. I go take care of emergencies, They're not the same type of work, not the same type of material, nothing. It's just like fix an air conditioner, fix an electrical problem, a lot of little things like that. But some of them take hours. But anyway, the fact of the matter is the receipts went into this container and now they're all mixed up. So now I have to go through, 7 months of receipts. So I spent an hour on one morning, an hour on the next, Thursday and Friday morning, and then came home on Friday about 6:30, and I worked till about 11, 5 hours. And I put them all together by the weeks, do it according to how much billing. I don't know exactly what things were billed for on that week, so I just went by dates. And there were 3 or 4 receipts that were water damage from me sweating on them. And so I was short like a $250, $300 max, not showing the receipts. But I got to realizing there's a whole bunch of receipts that far beyond
$1,200.
$1,200 more receipts. Okay, guys, this is what I'm saying. Over an 8-week period, $1,200 that I didn't turn in. Okay, so even though I damaged $300 worth, let's say, that's rounded up, there's another $1,200 that I didn't even charge her for. That sounds ridiculous, but it wasn't a one lump sum. It was 100 here and 100 there, 120.
For 20 here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to help this lady get through to the end. All in good intentions. There's no bad intentions by not charging you for the billing for those materials. And I didn't charge as much for labor as I could have. And so I turned it all in and mentioned to her, hey, since we're short this rounded up $300, these are $500 worth of receipts to cover it. And by the way, there's even more receipts. So out of curiosity, I went back, this morning and checked, I found out how much were the total cost of receipts that I billed, which is $4,000 and something dollars. And then how many receipts did I give her? And it was like $5,000 and something dollars, and yet there's more. Okay.
$416.90.
She knows how much it. Okay. So now we're talking about an accountant. She says, "Well, I'm not going to pay until I have had time to go through all these receipts," which it took me less than 3 minutes to go through them after I had them stacked up and sent to her. And let's say she's an accountant, I'm not. Let's say it took her an hour. Now it has been, since she texted me this morning saying she has not ever cheated anybody, she's not going to start now. Which, mind you guys, she's already delayed me getting paid by putting the check in the mail. Now that is a classic. Hey, the check's in the mail. If you want to delay getting money to somebody because you don't have the money in the bank, you put the check in the mail. Does that make sense? Because then you get whatever time. And guess what? You could just say you put the check in the mail. Unless you put it in registered mail, you got no way to prove it. Oh, like, oh, you didn't get that by now? Oh, well, I don't know why I bother with you, but I guess I'll send another check. You see what I'm talking about? That is a classic. It's been going on since I was a teenager and probably long before. But she sent a check in the mail for 2 days, and she has not, and I repeat, she has not, as an accountant, said she was going to pay on Friday. She has not paid even today, which is, what, 12, 14, 16 hours later.
And tried to do an end run around by not dealing with you and
Yeah.
instead dealing with her.
It's a typical, instead of dealing directly with me, people try to deal with anybody around me, my help, anybody that might know me. Could you tell him, my wife, but the reality of this, guys, is out of my kindness, which I explained to her in lengthy detail very politely, very, very politely, because I have to live with my conscience, and I will walk away, even though I lost money, a lot of money, she has to live with herself. No matter what kind of reason she comes up with, she knows in her heart of heart what she's done. She's delayed paying me, which I paid my guys, and I don't get the money. After looking after her, not charging her,
For months.
over and over again, being
Over
kind.
years.
Yes, over years I've taken care of her. So when you're doing estimating, how do you estimate that?
You don't.
Well, a lot of guys will go like, I want half up front. And you go, oh my God, that's crazy. Why would you ever do that? This woman said, well, I thought it was industry standard that you provide receipts at all times.
Diane Wood. I don't know what you're talking about, my friend, but you're a special man. If you need me to help anyway, I'll write you a reference or anything to help you.
Diane, you are a special person to me. You know that. I have had a wonderful time getting to know you, working with you, and we went through your tough times too, didn't we? Having people tell you that you have to have an engineer to explain what is wrong with repairs to your house.
It couldn't be done.
Yeah, believe me, Diane, I am okay. But you know what? You're as good a reference as anybody, because in my heart of hearts, you're just as sweet a person as I have ever dealt with. But there's a lot of who are right in there with you. You are just one special person, though. That is Diane Wood. She used to be up in my area, and just a wonderful person.
She says, yes, we did.
We went through it, didn't we? Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what? That's what I'm doing now for the last 15 years, 20 maybe, maybe all along. I'm there to make the customer's life better. That person I try to treat as if they were my friend. I know I'm charging and it hurts a budget. It really hurts. Generally, I'm not even close to what the rest of the people are charging.
Okay. You couldn't even get a bathroom done for what she got a little house.
So yeah, this little house, we looked up what the average cost of a bathroom remodel.
Not a new bathroom.
Not a new bathroom, not an added-on bathroom, but a new one.
Or a remodel.
She got a whole small house put together with utilities brought to it, electrical and plumbing. But I'm not saying she's an evil person. I think that she allowed other people where she works as an accountant, which she works for a big corporation, to tell her, hey, you need to look over his shoulder because I'm sure he's taking advantage of you. He's went over the budget. It's hurting your finances. And what she is now finding out is she didn't even get charged as much as she could have. I didn't even charge her what I should have. Instead, and I even told her this the last week or two when she's acting kind of, like I might be being dishonest or something, but didn't say it. So, I still think, she has the potential to be a good person. But alarm bells been telling me to consider the situation and the weaknesses that people have. So in estimating, you can do everything just so and have everything just so, and then you take a hit. One of the guys who used to work for me went to work for a lady by way of phone, and he needed to work. He went in, started doing the work, and then they said, oh, well, hey, we'll pay you not today like we said we would, but tomorrow, but would you do some more things and I'll pay you this much more? So he did that. And they said, hold on, I'm going to send my daughter over there. And her daughter shows up and says, oh, this is not what she wanted at all. Oh, my goodness. Well, tell you what, I'll talk to her, but we're going to have to discount this. Go ahead and tear out this stuff, tear out the carpet and do these things. So he called me up. He says, man, have you ever been through this? I said, yeah. There are people out there that are getting you to do work for nothing. He goes, no. I said, okay, say this. And he goes, hey, I need a little bit of money to keep functioning. What I would like is at least half of what I've already done. Or let's just say, 25%. You know what? They didn't even want to give him 25%. No. We want you to do it all and then we'll pay for it all at one time. I said, you need to stop. You need to stop. And finally, he went on a little bit further. And finally, he had to stop. There's a lot of other scenarios. I probably could do a whole hour about it, about how people will try to scheme. Okay. Let me put this to you. A lot of people use credit cards to pay for things. But they can claim that what you did is not a service, but a product. I had a customer do that. I'm unhappy with the product. I want to have that charge revoked. It wasn't a product, it was a service. It doesn't matter. The credit card company will go with the customer. And then guess what? They hit your account. I just have been fortunate enough to know, hey, we need to shut the account down because it's at risk and open up, under another name. And they hit too late. $5,000-$6,000 they were trying to get. As it is, they already hit me for $700, and there was nothing wrong. Okay, guys, nothing wrong.
We had texts where they had approved it.
They have approved it with text. That's admissible in court. No warning that it was going to happen other than they were having a hard time paying.
And they were getting squirrely.
Yeah, they were just, yeah. So, I didn't get hit for $5,000, but any guy could. And I'll give you another scenario.
No, but our profit for the week.
Yeah, it was gone. The time spent, I still had to pay my help. I'll give you another scenario. If you go and pay for a room addition, your handyman does that work and it's paid for in lump sum, and then they have to make payments on the credit card, say $20,000, and they make payments. They go through, so let's say he has a heart attack and he can't make the payments anymore. The credit card company can come back themselves and say, hey, we're not going to pay this anymore because he's not making his payments. and they want their money back. They will go and hit your account and take that money back. Check and see if I'm not telling you the truth. So, what does that mean? That means that credit cards do not have the same value as cash money or even a check. A check, you can prosecute them for writing a bad check, can you not? But you can't do that for having a bad charge on a credit card or a debit card. You can't do anything about that. I'll give you another, and I can go on and on all night long. How about this? I don't know how many people have called me and said, I want you to do work on this house, this new house that I bought, but I'm in the hospital and I can't be there. I would like you to do work. I will pay you. Go and give me an estimate.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Use the classic one that happened over and over until I got wise to it. Is I'm in the hospital with lung cancer.
Or cancer of some kind.
Well, lung cancer was for 3. Brain cancer was another one. So the cancer thing was what they used. I'm in the hospital with cancer, so I can't come. And if you pay attention, their writing, their sentence structure is not like somebody that knows English. Which
somebody English is a second language.
It's definitely a second language. So what I didn't have anything happen to me, but I kept thinking to myself, I would be over to somebody else's house to go work on it, and I don't even know if the person I talked to owns it or anything. But let me give you this scenario. How about this? Say the owner of that property actually does live in another state and wanted somebody from out of the country, even a company that has a front here, to get it done. And what they do is they go, well, I'll get some guy, they're living in Thailand or something, I'll get some guy in America to come over and I won't talk to him directly. I'll just text him and say, hey, could you go do this and I'll pay you well, and you go do the work, let's say, and you send all the money on materials, you do the work, and it's done, you see them pictures, and they don't pay you. But they do take your pictures and send it to the guy who owns it. Or maybe they just don't intend to pay you for the work on their house. If you've never met them, how are you going to ever know what's real and what isn't? Been concrete work, been painting, exterior, interior work, plumbing, electrical, you name it. So my rule now, and has been for quite a while, is if I can't meet you, I don't work for you. There are one or two exceptions. But if I can't meet you, I don't work for you.
And Diane says, all those people that treat others unfairly will have to eat their actions someday. I'm having such a hard time finding anyone even half as loving and honest as you are.
Man, that's such a sweet thing.
You are blessings.
Yeah, you are a blessing to interact with too, Diane. And I can't say it well enough. You are very, very pleasant to deal with.
Yeah.
Pleasant is not the word, but anyway, I can give you other scenarios, and maybe I will from time to time. It is with the electronic world, it is exceptionally frightening how fast you can lose money that you worked hard and sweated for, got dirty, crawled underneath houses to do.
Especially if you're a new...
Yeah, and you're desperate for the work.
If you're starting a new business, you're desperate for the work. You think, well, I'll take a risk.
Yeah.
Well, now you're even more desperate.
Now you're even in a place where you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your home because you've extended yourself, trying to make a name for yourself with a business. And I've seen it over and over again. I've actually helped some of those guys by buying stuff from them to help them get through. I did not need the stuff. Sometimes I was in kind of a tight myself. Not the kind of tight they were in, but I went through it. And my heart goes out to you guys if you ever see this video. I want you to understand that no matter how well-intentioned you are, there are people that do not have good intentions.
If your gut says no, follow it.
Yes, so if your instincts are starting to go off the hook, Start trying to figure out ways to reduce your costs and try to see if you can step off. Even hesitate for a while, delay it for a little bit, see what happens. It'll shake out. Um, is it men? Not necessarily. I would lay you odds. The majority of the people that I've had a bad time were with women. Not because they are a woman, but because they generally are the ones who know what they want, but they also change their mind. And I think that's a beautiful thing, to be around a woman who can and who does. But when it comes to getting things accomplished in the physical world, you can't just up and change your mind without having a heavy cost. It takes somebody with a lot of patience to put up with it, and humility. In the real world, even as an accountant, you cannot just up and change the rules. It has to stay within parameters. You have to do certain things. You have to make agreements and then stick with it. Can you change your mind? Yes, you can. But understand, when you change things, that makes the job more expensive and disjointed. It brutalizes the relationship, because now the guy who did the work is like, man, am I going to do this again? And then it have to be changed again. How many times am I going to do this? It's not the same relationship anymore. It's not. So, whenever you're bidding work, understand, don't be desperate to get to work, no matter how hungry you are. If it doesn't seem up and up, step off. And then you'll have them coming, hey, I thought you were going to give me an estimate. Yeah, well, you kind of acted like you didn't really want. You started telling me about all these people you kicked off the job, and you want me to finish it up. You told me at least 7 people you kicked off the job.
Sounds like something I don't want to be involved in.
It sounds like somebody who's not easy to get along with, and perhaps I'm not the right person for you. And you will get the biggest cussing out you ever did see. Because they intended to abuse you just like they did everybody else. Oh, I have had my dealings with them. I can go on and on. These people, it could be real-time TV. I'm sure it is somewhere on YouTube or something. These people just end up spitting mad. And there's no reason to be mad. They're the one that did the wrong. Their defense is to be aggressive. So here I am getting hit for $2,000. Even if she paid now, it is 24 hours late, but she's not paying now.
Well, and if you add all of it,
she's not even paying me what I did for her. Okay, not hourly, not material wise.
Closer to $4,000.
So she has to live with her. I don't have to live with it. I live with my conscience, and so when somebody calls me a thief, I have righteous indignation. Somebody calls me a liar, I call them out. I called out a guy today as tall as I was, 6'3". And I told him, are you calling me a liar? After all the years that you and I have been together, you're calling me a liar? The one guy that helped you out when you're down and out, you called me a liar. Now, how do I have that ability? Is it a defensive thing? No. I'm in a place where I know I didn't lie to him. I know I didn't, because I just don't have a good enough memory to lie. No, I just don't lie.
It takes too much work.
It makes you feel dirty, I would imagine. I don't know. But I'm not going to put up with anybody calling me a liar or even implying that I'm a liar. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to put up with somebody saying that I'm a thief or a dishonest person. This person that I'm dealing with now, her implications are that I took advantage of her.
Maybe you need to talk about that when you're building a business, building in some kind of a cushion after when you get hit like this.
Yeah, well, it's
Because you will.
you will get hit. And I don't think it's always ill-willed people. I think sometimes something happens and they don't have the money anymore and they don't know how to stop the train. They're like, hold on, let me. You're extended. You're already officially extended, and they're broke too. But instead of telling you truthfully, this is where I'm at, they dodge, they escape, they don't answer the phone, any number of things, or they get upset because the best way to deal with fear is to get angry. So they get angry with you and they yell at you and they call you all kinds of names, which hurts your feelings. You're already a victim. You're already being damaged, and you want to raise your voice up and get all bent out of shape yourself. You understand that this is frightening for somebody that's in a subcontractor or a handyman situation. He might well need every bit of that to pay his bills, because he had to buy tools along the way. He had to pay for things to get there. And now he's broke and you're not paying him anything? You're saying, I'm not going to, because you don't wear deodorant and I don't really, not that I'm saying I don't wear deodorant, but what I'm trying to get to is, when these guys shoot numbers to you, sometimes it is despite the fact that they've already been taken advantage of. And you're going to go say, well, I will never do that to you. How many relationships have you been in where people said, I will be the best person you ever knew? I can tell you renters that have said, I'm going to be your best renter ever, and they were absolutely not. They were the worst renter ever I ever had. Cost me thousands of dollars. Not only did they not pay the rent, they damaged the place. And one of them took a pickaxe to the water line. Cost me $1,300. $1,400, she corrects me. You see what I'm saying? Because you say that does not, that is sort of, it's worth a penny out of a dollar. It is good to say it, but understand it's not proof until you have a relationship.
Diane says, oh, my friend, please don't let this get to you. You're such a blessing to so many. Ones like her, few compared to all the people who you do work for. You both will come out on top in the end.
Yeah, thank you.
Said, the main reason we're doing this is to help others doing this type of business.
Yeah, and it might actually be my boys when they try to start their business. And I have 3 boys. Or any number of other people that are out there. You can overcome it. You just have to learn how to manage your money, and when you first start out, you're broke, even if you got $2,000-$3,000 in your bank account.
You're broke.
Because you got to spend that much money to buy materials, and materials can eat you alive if you got an estimate that's out there for more than 90 days. It's 30 days.
Yeah, now I would only do 30 days, maybe
Maybe
even less.
Yeah.
Or I would do 30 days contingent on material prices.
No contract signed until I review the prices.
Yeah.
And so let me give you, for instance, there was a guy that was on YouTube talking about, a young guy talking about he bought groceries in 2022 from Walmart. And then it cost him like $126, and then he goes to Walmart and gets the exact same prices on Walmart's prices, and it's $400 and something.
We were talking to
We're talking to somebody today
that it was 5 times the amount.
5 times as much in 2 years, guys. Do we not understand that we are being lied to when they say that inflation's only like 3 or 4%? That's 300 or 400% that we just talked about. So we're going to talk about the same thing in materials. If we don't get
or more
the inflation problem taken care of, there is at no point, I do not know anything that went down. Nothing. You used to be able to say pizza stayed the same price. but for the longest time. But I don't know that that's the case anymore either. So consider that if you are somebody who's estimating, those prices change. So keep an eye on those prices. You know, if somebody's doing a cost plus an hourly plus materials. I don't mark up materials. I just never have. Better Business Bureau. I had a website with them, and this lady took over the Better Business Bureau's area that was involved. She said, "You got to take this off your website because I know you're lying." I was like, "How do you know I'm lying?" She goes, "Well, can you prove you don't mark up materials?" So how would I do that? Well, can do I need to prove to you that I don't mark up materials? Is that what you're saying? How would you know? I'd have to show you the estimate with materials included. With the materials broke out. What if I didn't bid it that way? I don't know how to. She says, "Well, if you don't take it out, we're done." And she closed it down. Didn't matter how much hundreds of dollars I gave the Better Business Bureau. Great relationship. Makes me want to go out and be part of the Better Business Bureau. And believe me, I have a pretty high ranking with the Better Business Bureau, despite.
Yeah, they keep sending us stuff, and I'm like, nope.
Right. I had a customer that had been chemically damaged from an airplane company, and he was 2 hours away. I had to do work for him. He begged me. And I'm talking about, you could almost hear the tears over the phone. Would you please come over here and put the insulation in the floor? And I did that, and I did whole lots more other things. I had a whole 3 or 4 guys with me. And they kept on adding on to it. And now I said, he goes, "Well, you're going to come back." I was like, I can't. I have a long schedule. I squeezed you in. I can't come back. He was mad at me when I left at like 9 o'clock at night with 2 hours to go. He was mad because I told him I wasn't going to come back anytime soon. Well, he went to the Better Business Bureau and made a full-on complaint.
And
Started.
they found with him.
Yes, they did find with him. We had to fight that. And that was hourly rate. It was no contract. It was him paying me. He paid me because he was happy. Okay? But then he became unhappy because he thought he could get me back the next day. Guys, man. It is very, very tough. I do not intend to quit doing it because it is tough. But I'm telling you, as somebody who's a very experienced person who likes people, I like people. I want to like everybody. What is it? Will Rogers? Never met a man he didn't like. Well, he probably finds some little something that he likes about that person. And I try to do the same thing. I want to see not good things in even the drug addicts. She laughs, but I do. I treat them kindly. I talk to them reasonably.
Yeah, they go to him, not me.
Yeah, they won't go to her. So, because I know that there, but for the grace of God, go I, is the saying. I don't want to go through what they're going through, and I don't know what it is to go through their journey. Nor do I know anybody's journey. Everybody's journey is different, but I want to treat them with kindness so that I don't look back and say, I could have done a better job. I have enough regrets, which I don't have any bad ones. But there was a movie called The Big Kahuna, and this young guy met the guy that everybody wanted to big wave, the Big Kahuna, the dude. He got an in just accidentally. And the other 2 salesmen were in the same room with this guy. They were all looking to meet this guy, this Big Kahuna, and where he was telling them, you shouldn't be talking this way. It's a bad attitude. And finally, the young guy says to the more reasonable guy, which is Danny DeVito, "Why do you treat him with more respect than you do me? I'm the one that's honest." And He goes, "Well, And he went in great. You should see the show. It must have been one of the cheaper shows to make, all inside the box. He goes, the difference between you and him is that is the man that I know has went through life and did things wrong, and he knew he did them wrong, and those are regrets. When you're young, you don't have those regrets, and so you're untested. You don't know what it is to go through them. I know he knows that he has those regrets, and I know him and the things that he's went through, so he understands me. We have something in common, those regrets of life that we wish we could have done better. And that young guy just didn't know.
You don't when you're young. You think you do, but you don't.
Right. So I go through life trying not to have very many regrets. I really want to be kind to most people. You can't to everybody, but you have to determine. So you shouldn't be the guy who just, or the person who never is nice to anybody, because they might take advantage of you. I suggest that you try to look for good in all people, and you move on. I am a firm believer that if you take advantage of somebody, if you are dishonest with somebody, and it has been my experience, that if somebody ripped me off, they had bad things happen to them. Not from me. Okay? Bad things happen to people who do bad things. Do we not know that? Is that not shown over and over? Yes, there are some evil people that end up being very wealthy. But what kind of peace do they have when they go to sleep? The bad things that these very wealthy people do, what kind of regrets do they have? Not the kind that I have. So we need to live our lives with as few regrets as possible. And that is where I'm at. It has cost me a lot of money. But I don't want to change that. And Diane's a good example of why. It's such a wonderful reward to have met her, to be a part of her life. And to get a teary-eyed thinking about the things that she went through as a person long before she met me. You know, that hurts me to be able to be compassionate. But you know what? If you understand their pain, how much better of a life will you have when you've been able to share pain with somebody else, even if it's not yours? So, is it all business being a handyman or a repairman? No, it's not. It's not. You can try to make it so, but everybody will affect somebody else. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to pass on to you the feelings of somebody who wants to be a good influence on other people that I'm involved with. I want to let them feel peaceful. I want to help them to have a better life. Do it whether or not I accomplish it. You know, if you were somebody who was just in it for the money, you might do a fantastic job. But what about the guy who really, really likes the person or is set out to make that person a better life? How much better a job would he do if he intends to make their life better? How much, you know, it's not all about function now. It's now about, I want to make sure that this cabinet doesn't get messed up because I really like this person. I want them to have a good time for the next few years, if I can have anything to do with it. So, you know, you go that extra mile, you do a little bit extra, you put tissue paper down underneath the kitchen sink drains just so you might see if the slightest drop hits that cabinet, you would see it if it hits the toilet paper. Because you really like this person. That doesn't matter if they allow you to be close to them. You are trying to make their lives better. So, you know, the reason I'm telling you guys these things is it's not for me to rant. It's for you to understand that this human condition that we're in We're in it together, indirectly and directly. The things that you put out there that are bad affect everyone. The things that you do good are affecting everyone. Do right by these other human beings that are flesh and blood just like you. Do right by them. Don't mistreat them. Take care to continue being a good influence with other people. Why not? What is the wrong in that? Where is the pain in that? So understand that all the selfishness in the world won't rescue you. No, all the money in the world will not rescue you and help you to become a peaceful person when you lay your head down at night.
Diane says, amen.
Right? And Diane is a very, very good person to have in your life. And so many more. And I'm glad to have her around. So when I stopped to think, if I had been less compassionate to people, how much less of a life I would have. I'm not going to change it, guys. I'm going to get taken advantage of, but I'm not going to change who I am, because it is ingrained in me to try to be compassionate to other people's needs. And I would ask you to look around and see if there are things that you can do to help other people around you. Be careful. Don't put yourself at powerful risk, particularly with women. Women they're smaller, they're more fragile. And that's not me trying to make women less than what they are. They're beautiful creatures. They see things differently than men do. And there's no man out there that can have children or be loving to children like women are. It's in so many videos now. Why are we trying to have any kind of discussion? This is going to get me in trouble with YouTube.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better stop where you're headed.
Yeah.
YouTube's already mad at us.
Yeah, I don't even know why. That's another one where you do something and they don't even tell you what you did. Not that I would change anything that I've said. I don't think I've said anything
that we don't believe,
that I haven't lived. Be kind to one another. It doesn't matter what the gender. It does not matter. Be kind to one another. We are all going to eventually die. There's nobody living forever in this world that we live in anyway. So you see what I'm talking about? Why would you not do that investment? Because you're in a hurry to make a bunch of money? To do what? Get to know your neighbor. Try to help your neighbor. Try to help them have a good atmosphere to live next to you. And that will come back to you. If you listen to what the Bible says, cast your bread upon the waters, and it will come back to you 100 times. So, I want you guys to understand, when you do estimating, you're going to take hits. You're going to take major financial hits, and you will learn all the little earmarks of the circumstances. So when you're estimating your material and you're estimating your labor, and then add a little bit, you will not be able to catch everything where a person just runs out of money or just doesn't want to pay you. They want to buy a new car and not pay you, or go on a trip. I literally had somebody say, "You saved our trip." So that's the closest thing I got to a thanks for what I did. I didn't get paid properly, but I've had other people say, "Thank you for saving me money, because now my wife and I can go ahead and do our trip." That was on a plumbing job. The person before me said they wanted $2,000 to dig a new line to fix the outside hydrant. And I end up charging them like $250. So he says, he's probably was 7, 8 years older than me, but he called me, son, you just saved my wife and I's. You don't understand. I'd hug you, but you're covered with mud. And I've been reaching down in a hole to fix this outside faucet. So yeah, you do get thanks, but other times you get
Kick to the chops.
a good smarting blow. So it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up that actually counts. Get up, start over, do it again. Now you've got experience that you didn't have before.
Learn your lesson.
Yeah. Be constantly reminding that person that you really do care about them, and let them have an out. If they can't afford it, let them have an out. Don't get it to the point where they just don't pay you and then they just dodge your phone call, where you have to go put a lien on the property so they can never sell it until that lien is settled. You see what I'm saying? And be kind to one another. That's what I suggest. When you're estimating, be kind. When you're paying some guy that struggled and he made mistakes, be kind. Because we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. I tell people all the time, if I stop making mistakes, I'll be dead. Okay? I'll be dead. I'm not perfect. I just try not to make a lot of mistakes. If I make a mistake, I fix it. I own up to it, and I fix it. What is it that Grady Judd said, chief of police down there in Florida? We fess up to it, fix it, and fix it quickly.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
Yeah.
Favorite people.
So please be kind to one another. When you're estimating, even if you waste a lot of time doing the estimate, you got to know somebody. And you just add that to your memory bank of things that you got to interact with somebody and leave a good impression with them, to think that the world is a better place. If you look at the internet, it just feels like the place is horrible.
We were just talking about that today, about you not doing so much online.
I feel like I'm spending too much time, and it's sort of like back in the day, watching too much news all the time. You think the world's a horrible place because they tell you all the bad things, to point out things that need to be better. And how about we have a good news? You remember? I'm going to show my age. You remember Grit magazine? Is nothing but good news. Okay? Who is doing that? Who is out there telling everybody all the good news?
I have like 2 or 3 people I follow on Shorts, if that's all they do.
You have to do it in short ways. There's so much that we can be grateful for. Like, every day we live is better than all the people that have died before us. Every day is a special thing.
Every day we live better than the royalty did in Egypt or in medieval Europe.
Third world countries now.
Yeah.
We have lots to be grateful for. And I know this is kind of off of the
topic normally.
but it is related. And I want you to know that as a repair person, a man, a handyman, whatever you want to call it, you are going to have things done to you that will make you cynical. Don't let it. Be smart about it. Be tactful about it. Be gracious.
That you're in their home.
Yeah, you're in their environment. You're there to make their life better. I hope. Believe me, there are some bad repairmen. I want people to treat one another better, but whether or not I get that, probably not.
That's okay. We're doing it.
My heart goes out to all of you guys. It does. I have no animosity to anybody, including the people who didn't pay me. You're gonna get yours. You planted, and you get what grew out of it, which is not going to be happiness and peace. But it's not my job to make you miserable. I need to move on and help other people who actually do need the help. So I wish every one of you, including the ones who didn't pay me, all the best. I want things to happen good for you. Go out and have a good life.
Got questions about estimating or anything else?
Yeah, if you got questions, or just want to mention things like Diane, a very good friend, you're welcome to come aboard and we'll talk about things. And I'm just a human being. I'm not a know-it-all. And I learn things all the time, and I look forward to learning more things in the future. I'm studying to get my HVAC license, and after that I'm going to go after solar. So I'm going to always be learning. I'll probably have a book in my deathbed trying to learn something. I wish you all the best. And my heart goes out to all of you. I don't know how to show